What is going on, guys? Barber come back to you with yet another video, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys the easiest way, in my opinion, to do a fade. After I show you guys how to do the fade, I'm also going to be showing you guys how I cut the top. Super easy, super simple. So yeah, without further ado, let's hop straight into it. So first things first, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna debulk the hair. This is just gonna make it easier for me to set in my bald guideline, just so that your trimmer doesn't have to cut through so much hair. This just makes it a lot easier. So the way I do that is I take my number 4 guard and I just, remove some of the hair on the sides. You want to make sure that once you get to the top, you flick out to make sure that you keep that, square shape when you're looking at the person straight. You don't want it to go inwards at the top of the bridge area. But after I went with my number 4, I followed up with the 2 guard lever open. This doesn't have to be perfect at all. It's just, you're just debulking to make it easier for you to see your guidelines and everything. So step 1, you're going to take your trimmers and you're going to set in your bald guideline. This is like the base of the fade, so you want to make sure that you put it in really well and the lines are clean and straight. And the way I go for doing this is I vision the fade. So I'm looking at my client's head and I really vision how the fade's going to come out, and I tell myself, okay, I want the fade to start here, and that's exactly where I'm going to put my bald guideline. So follow that up with shaving everything that's under it. And once you're done shaving everything that's under it, you want to flip your clipper over, kind of like if you're outlining, and just scrub everything under that line. That'll just make it easier to fade the shaver into the fade. So just keep that in mind once after you put in your bald guideline. And I'm leaving it real time so you guys can really see how much effort I put into these steps. Alright, so step 2, I'm going to take my clipper, no guard lever open, so this would be a 0.5, and I'm going up about half of an inch. And this is going to be the first guideline. We're going to be putting in 3 guidelines. I'm going to explain to you guys how to get rid of those later, but this is the first guideline, going up half of an inch. Next up, we're going to take our 1 guard with the lever open, go up same amount that you did with the 0.5, about half of an inch, and you guys can see now you're setting in your levels to the fade. The reason why I like this method is because it's hard to lose yourself in it. When you're using no guidelines, you're just going upward, you might lose yourself, but this, you're setting in a solid foundation that you just have to remove the lines. That's why I'm a big fan of this method. Alright, so now once your guidelines are set in, it's time to fade. We're gonna fade downwards. So what I do is I take my number 4 and I'm clearing up that bridge area, making sure that it's clean and flush and straight. So at the top, you see I'm using a wrist motion, I'm flicking up at the top. That's just to ensure that we don't go inwards and have kind of a rounded shape. That'll ruin the whole haircut, because then when the guy's looking at himself in the mirror, he's not going to see a solid shape. It's just going to be going inwards. It's going to look funny, and to him the haircut isn't going to look as good as it's supposed to. So be sure to keep that 90-degree flick out at the top. And then after, we're going to take our number 2 guard lever open, blend it into what you just did, so we're flicking out at the top. And then the way I go about fading is I have the lever open, and then I'll go halfway, and then I'll have it closed. And every time you're closing the lever, you're going shorter and shorter, right? So I just went the 2 guard open, I went halfway, and then I went closed, and every time I'm going lower and lower. So right now I have my 1.5 guard started with the lever open, and we're attacking that top line. We're moving that top line, and so you start with the lever open, have it halfway, and then close. And as you're doing this, you're going lower and lower, and then when you're at the point of the lever closed, you should be exactly on that top line, using the corner of your blade flicking out, and it should make the line disappear, just as it's disappearing right now. So right now it's time to get rid of that middle line. So with my one guard lever open, we're doing the same steps. We're gonna have it open and then slightly close it to halfway, go a bit lower, and then close it all the way, go a bit lower. This isn't gonna remove the line, it's just gonna soften it up. It's gonna make it easier to remove, and the way that we're gonna remove it is with our 0.5 guard. So right now you guys can see the line just got softer, it's not as apparent. And then right here with the 0.5 guard, we're gonna remove that line. So same thing, have it all the way open, start flicking out, have it halfway, and then close. Once it's closed, you're gonna be flicking at the line and the line should disappear. And then now we're attacking that bottom line, same thing, lever open, halfway closed. There might still be a little line, and the way you're going to get rid of that line is with your outliner, just using the corner of your blade. You'll get rid of it, because you guys need to remember, whatever you set a line in with, you can remove it with that exact same thing. So that bottom line, I set it in with my trimmer, so I know for a fact I can get rid of it with my trimmer. This is also like the hardest line to get rid of, just because you're going from no hair to a bit of hair. So this it takes me the longest out of all the steps, just because you really want this line to be blended out, because this is like the base of the fade. This is what starts the fade. So take your time when you're doing this step. It's not a rush, especially when you're starting out. So just take your time and make sure you really put in the effort to get rid of that line. So right here, like I said, there is still a small line at the bottom, and we're gonna get rid of that with our outliner. Unfortunately, I didn't get video of me using the shaver, but it's self-explanatory. You just shave at the bottom, and since at the beginning, like I said, you flip your outliner over and you scratch, you just flick out at the top of where the skin ends, and it'll just blend itself in. But right here, we're just outlining using the corner of your blade, kind of draw it in like a pencil. And yeah, that's it. Alright, so now that the rough draft is over, it's now time to really perfect the fade. So the way I do it is I just redo the exact same steps. So we'll go number 4 guard, 2 guard, 1.5 guard, 1 guard, 0.5 guard, no guard. A trick you could do is take a break from this side, do the other side, just to give your eyes a break of really looking at the same thing, so that when you come back to doing this side, you can really pick out the dark spots and perfect your fade. But yeah, so now that's going to be it for the fade. Enjoy this little montage of me finishing up the other sides, and then I'll come back at you guys when it's time to do the top. Alright, so first things first, when cutting the top, you want to make sure that the hair is well saturated. This is just going to make it easier to cut, and also it's going to make it easier to maneuver around, run your comb through it and all that. So the way I go about cutting the top is I like to leave the front for the end, just because it's the most important part and it's what the client sees. So I like to leave that for the end. So I stand behind the client, and then I envision 3 sections. So there's the middle, the left, and the right. I'm going to start in the middle, and then I'm going to cut a certain amount off. Right here, I just asked him, does this look good? Cut that amount, and then I follow up behind it, cut the same amount, follow up behind that, cut the same amount, follow up behind that, cut the same amount again. So now I have, just 4 sections that I just cut. So I'm going to stand to the left of him and connect each section vertically. That's just going to ensure that, basically that whole line is all the same length. So once you're done doing that, right here, you guys are going to see I'm going to take a step to the left and really connect everything. So once you're done doing that, you're going to do the same thing on the left side, and then the same thing on the right side. Once that is done, it's not over. You still got to connect the fade into the long hair. So I'll come and I'll create a 90-degree angle with my fingers to really connect the fade into the long hair. I'll let you guys know when that time comes when I'm doing it, but you got to do that and then you can move on to doing the front, because you can't just cut the top without attacking the bridge area. It's not gonna blend in perfectly. So yeah, right here I'm doing the right side, gonna connect it vertically. Right here we're connecting it vertically. So right here is where I'm connecting the long hair into the fade. I'm creating a 90-degree angle with my fingers, and this is just going to allow to have a good shape in the haircut. So you can't forget this. I'd say this is probably the most important part, connecting the fade into long hair. This is what's going to make the cut look perfect to him, because he's going to look at his hair in the mirror and he's going to see it connect perfectly from the sides to the top. So I really like to put a lot of time and effort into the bridge area. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Make sure everything connects in perfectly. And then yeah, now it's time to do the front. So for the front, I'm just going to grab a bit. And you really want to make sure you don't cut the front too short, because then you just scrap the whole haircut. So it's better to cut not enough and then cut it a little more later. That's always the way I go about it. So we're going to cut a bit and then cut the section behind that and then connect it vertically. Same thing on the left side, and then same thing on the right side. Alright, so now right here what I'm doing is I'm just adding texture in the hair just to make sure that it's not, perfectly straight. So you guys can see the angle that I'm using, and I'm just cutting every few hairs. So yeah, that's going to be it for the tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something new. If you guys are new here and you enjoyed, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It'd really mean a lot. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.